Guatemala has announced that it will move its embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem just 2 days after the US will do the same, Guatemalan President Jimmy Morales has announced. At a speech during the infamous American-Israel Public Affairs Committee's annual conference, the Guatemalan leader proclaimed, "I would like to thank President Trump for leading the way. His courageous decision has encouraged us to do what is right." Guatemala was only one of very few countries that threw its weight behind US President Donald Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital city of Israel in December 2017. However, it is the only one to, so far, follow in the US's lead and actually move its own embassy to Jerusalem. But the question burning on the minds of so many people is, why exactly is Guatemala so keenly following in the footsteps of the United States, especially considering the historically strained relations between the two countries? Earlier on, Middle East analyst Due-Gundersen explained to me.
Yes, it's very interesting that they planned the relocation 2 days after the planned U.S. move as well. It feels a bit politically symbolic. On the other hand, we have to remember that Guatemala's president, Jimmy Morales, he discussed the move last December with Netanyahu. That's one. The other thing is that Guatemala has usually had a policy of supporting Israel. They were one of the first Central American countries to vote for Israel's establishment back in 1947.
Following the Trump administration's shock announcement on the fate of Jerusalem last December, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expressed his confidence that other countries would follow suit soon. Prior to the year 1980, Guatemala and a few other countries had their embassy compounds located in Jerusalem. At the time, Israel tried to pass into law a proclamation that Jerusalem was its eternal and undivided capital, causing outrage at the UN Security Council, which pressured Guatemala and other countries to relocate their embassies to Tel Aviv, where they have sat ever since. President Morales has asserted that moving his country's embassy in Israel back to Jerusalem is a sign that, he said, strongly evidences Guatemala's continued support and solidarity with the people of Israel. So, could Guatemala's announcement be a sign that Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu was right, and that other countries will now start to move their embassies from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem?
Well, we have to remember that the vote against Israel, if you like, and against the Jerusalem move in the UN was quite overwhelming. At the same time, what we see here with Guatemala is kind of a quid pro quo. So Morales, he announced this decision quite recently. At the same time, in that announcement, he stressed a desire for investment from Jewish communities, and he stressed a affinity for the U.S. between, Guatemala and the Trump administration. So I do feel that this is Guatemala trying to make a move to gain more leverage with the Jewish community and also gain more investment from the U.S. as well.
While for now it may only be Guatemala, for its very own specific reasons, that follows the lead of Donald Trump on Jerusalem. However, that's not likely to be much consolation to the Palestinians, who initially thought that it was only going to be the US to make the move. Taking that into consideration, it is very possible that the question now plaguing the minds of the Palestinian leadership is, who could move next? Matthew Aiton, Radio Sputnik.